That is also Title II. That probably.
Oh, that's the, that's the Title I Conference, Safe and Civil Schools. That's gonna be, that's the one in July, remember?
Right, that's the one that's coming up in Portland, Oregon, that's also in the plan.
Carol Matthews.
No, it's not. Oh, Carol Matthews
Yeah,
is our.
30, check 70530.
Okay, she is the teacher.
705.
She does some work for Title I.
Yeah, she's Title I.
Okay, what's that check for 1625?
Okay.
Well, I just, the detail, 44 hours times 2075.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not just,
Right,
Okay, and Oriole trading
that's probably also.
that's Title I, prizes and supplies. It's good.
For,
okay. Shiloh Inn and Suites, is that another
What check number?
conference, 70536?
trying to spend the money before they won't send it.
Yep,
back.
that's Title I, that's the Safe and Civil Schools conference.
Probably couldn't get them all at one and
Yeah.
had to go to the other.
70408 Covenant for $120. Did we send somebody for something?
70408?
70408.
Okay.
Covenant Medical Center.
Yeah, I'm still. Yeah, Covenant Medical Center, looks like DOT physical exam for 2 people, to Rocher and Schimmel.
Oh,
Bus
okay.
trainers.
Bus,
Okay.
I was guessing. Good guess.
anybody else?
Oh, question I had, PCMI,
Yeah.
how many employees what employees do we get from that?
PCMI, we get actually aides. Our GSRP program is 100%, just about 100% through PCMI. That's our teachers at the preschool program and teacher assistants. Any teacher that's out, they all go through PCMI.
Okay,
Every sub-teacher,
coaches and stuff do that?
absolutely. And if we go, like if the teacher's playing an in-service, all the subs come through it.
Oh, okay.
So that's the only place we use for subs, except sub-custodians and sub-secretaries. And administrators, of course, we don't do subs. So that's why, and they do all the background check, they do everything. I know we pay a lot of money.
One of those is transparency. We updated the transparency website this week, so I gave you copies of their,
Okay.
so you can get it.
Anything else on that?
No.
Okay. I don't like your one.
It's just a review, it's really.
Oh, that's true.
The biggest thing is Brunkow.
Yeah.
Anything else on the check register? Okay, Pete, I guess you're on.
Okay,
Payroll
well,
services.
yeah, you guys have the agenda, the Carol put together an agenda for you. Okay, yeah.
Did you get a copy?
I just didn't print it out, okay, I know it's on it. It's on the house.
We're just looking down the road. All the other school districts in Saginaw County are on the ISD system, which is Skyward. We're the only ones on the SIMS AS400, which is kind of an antiquated
For
system.
finance.
And for everything,
And
finance and payroll.
And-
Yeah, not for the student absences and all that type. That's
We're on
that's
Skyward.
Yeah. So we're looking down the road of transitioning over to the ISD system, Skyward. There's a newer system and everyone else is online. And part of that would entail having the ISD doing payroll, which they do for all the other districts in Saginaw. So we're starting the process, we're starting the negotiation process of that, and we're working with Kathy Stewart. That's why Carol put that on the agenda. That down the road, our plan would be to have the ISD do our payroll and all our finance support and general ledger support, and transition off Skyward. Now, there will be a cost involved. We don't have final figures, but that's something that we'll have to address with you and have the board approve eventually over the next year. We'd like to start the transition early in 16-17, as we got just too much stuff going on 15-16 that we have to clean up. But that's something that we want to at least give you a heads up on.
Who's doing it now?
Grash Isabella, ISD.
They don't want to do it anymore, do they?
Well, they do 7 other districts, and they were quite familiar with our situation. We had a conference call with their superintendent, and he didn't understand we were in deficit and we didn't have any other viable options. options. So we're still working with them. The goal is to keep on them until we can go to the ISD system in 16, 17. So really maybe another year of being gradually developed, because they do 7 others. There's economies of scale. There's really, it just makes most sense. They get best practice money from the state of Michigan to do this, so they're the only logical alternative to do payroll. So we're working with them.
Gratiot, there's a charge with them.
Yes, $1,000 of payroll. Yes.
So it's, you think it's gonna just be comparable?
Pardon me?
Do you think it'll be comparable?
For Saginaw ISD?
Or it's too early to tell?
It's too early to tell, yeah. With Saginaw, they'll be doing everything, not just payroll. They'll be doing our general ledger support. And also down the line, our tech support is a possibility instead of doing Zimco. Because I know Zimco, this is one of the issues, I don't know, we got about 100,000 charges from Zimco this year.
This year?
In tech, yeah, in 14, 15.
We
So-
want you to sit down with us
Oh,
and
yeah.
see.
So we're looking at, and they want to do our services, and they gave us a schedule which would be less than that 100,000, like 60, 65,000 over a 5-year period. So that's an alternative we can look at here going forward. But that's all part of the conversion Skyward. That would make it all easier, so we could, get that over and really update and modernize our system. Basically, is what we need to do.
ISD has some really quality people working for it.
Yes, and they know schools specifically, whereas Zimco does a lot of other things.
Okay.
So.
So we're hoping that nothing will change. We talked with the superintendent, we told him it's just not, right now, it's just not easy to make the transition.
Yes.
We need one more year,
Sure, okay.
15, 16. We haven't heard back from him.
No, we haven't heard.
So,
Well, we've talked to the state, Mike Flanagan, some people there who would help us out if there is, because we're basically looking to transition, so there's no reason why they should do, because they do get best practice money from the state of Michigan to do that kind of service. So that's something they should be providing to all districts, at least ones that have a contiguous border with them, even though we're not in their county, we're right next to them. So we'll give you an update in the next meeting and let you know where that, if anything changes.
Did you all mention that Kathy Stewart said she's gonna try to intercede for us? I don't know if that'll work, but.
Yeah, just to let them know we're planning on transitioning, and there is a timeline we're going to work with, but that's about that. The next one, this is a spreadsheet here, the state aid spreadsheet. If you go down, the third from the bottom is Bridgeport's Bowling Community Schools. That's us. And basically, what it looks like, this was approved yesterday. So it looks like we will be getting this increase in funding that is on the sheet. So what it means, if you look at the foundation increase, it's going from 7251 to 7391. So it's a 140 increase. However, there's an offset, a decrease of $50. They're eliminating best practice, which we're not getting. But we did get pupil performance, so we don't lose any in that exchange. So we're still coming out with a net of $90, just foundation allowance unrestricted. Now, the at-risk is scheduled to go up $64, but there are some restrictions with that. It's not really a clean general fund type of finance. So you really need to look at the foundation allowance plus best practices, which is $90, and so that's good. That's going to equate to, I believe, another $100,000 for us. And then at-risk funding of 64 will equate to another substantial amount that we'll have. There's some third grade testing and 11th grade testing that comes with that at-risk funding, but it is still flexible. We can use it for pretty much everything except administrative costs.
Which means we can't hire a principal or assistant principal with 31A money, but there's a lot of other things we can do. But the big focus on 31A money this year will be 3rd grade literacy and 11th grade career and college readiness. The 3rd grade literacy part goes really hand in hand with what we're going to be doing in our priority plan. And a lot of what the governor wants, some of those strategies are already in our plan. The college and career readiness, I think we have kind of a step up on that already too, because we've got a very competent career and college access coordinator here in Mr. Barlow.
Do you have any idea what we started this last year off student count and what we ended at?
I think we're about 1662 is what I had.
And?
The state status report.
That's in.
Yeah, as of right now, it gets, there's that section 25 for the transitional students that's always changing during the year, but that's the last state report I have, 1662. So if you take that 1662 times the $90 increase, it's 150,000, which will get in the general fund, and then for at-risk, it's 100,000, so.
So you want to know what we lost?
It's 140 minus the 50. That's the net gain we'll have in the
I
general
think you have
fund.
95 on the spreadsheet.
Yeah, it has 95 on
No, that's for the NUPSER's reimbursement. That's really in and out. That's really not an increase in funding. That's just, they raise the rate and they reimburse us for the increase, so it's really no effect in general.
Just $90.
Yeah.
So,
That-
did Pat tell you how many kids we lost?
No.
Okay.
It seems like that was a pretty steady number throughout the whole year, wasn't it?
Kind of, yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like
We just
it
went
just seems
forward.
like that 1662 kind of rings in my head from the beginning of the year. So
One of the,
kinda-
pretty steady, pretty steady, and that's one of the beauties of our district, no matter what's going on around us, the declining enrollment in our district, our enrollment stays pretty steady, and that's a good thing.
And this is kind of shocking to me that we're getting more money from them. Isn't it amazing how they found the money?
Right.
The roads to them, yeah. Well, they're tucking the belts up someplace else. Hmm?
So that's, if you got any questions on that, if you want to look it over.
No, that's good news.
And just the last thing I gave was the transparency reporting. So that was, website was updated a couple of weeks ago. There were some changes that were made to get up to speed with the MD requirements. There were 2 new disclosures this year, which I handed out also, in terms of the state requires you to put district credit card information on there. So that was, we only had the one that was under the previous superintendent, if you see that one sheet there. And the other one is district paid out-of-state travel. That's a new requirement for 14-15, which we also completed, as you see there.
And you also have to tell the funding source, right?
Yes, on the,
So
Yeah, it's,
when
on-
someone looks at the website, they'll know it's federally funded as opposed to general funds.
right, it says, yeah, intervention. And in 15-16, there's going to be a new requirement that all districts have to put their monthly check disbursements on there. So basically, each month, or you do it for a whole year, but you have to have your full year's worth of expenses disclosed on your website. So that's going to be a new thing, starting, required by December of 2015.
And actually, not even on here. Okay, did we talk about Bronco?
No. Okay.
Jeff, you're gonna kind of give us an update on Bronco?
Well, I only have what you have given me, and that's pretty much the, I think we spoke to Chris Spring as well as Kathy, I think. And they have, they're interested, but it's all gonna come down to numbers of what we're willing to let the building go for. Real estate had said that, it was worth the $1 million range. We know we're not gonna get that.
No.
But I almost think they should give us a number, but maybe we should push the number. I'm not positive how you want to address that.
Do you know what it's valued at?
Well, that was just through real estate, that's all they said when those other charter schools, whatever you want to call them, were in there, that's the number they threw out, $1 million plus, but we know that we're not going to get that. So I think we have to be reasonable and come up with a number we think is feasible.
And they were banking on grant money to purchase the building, and they're not clear yet about the grant money, but they're still interested. So Superintendent Stewart pretty much indicated that it would be not an overwhelmingly high offer.
And then she tried to back it up by saying, that, you know, it supports our school system.
Yeah.
That's there in that area. If we were to demo the building, Hexar would move probably out of the district area is what she's saying. And she put out, she felt that they lost for the schools.
Which,
It's just kind of a sales point. There's some
Right.
truth to it.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
she's right.
But from the last time we talked to them in here, they're showing a little more interest now, or?
Well, they just know we're pushing the July date, and we were
Yes.
telling them we're gonna do a demo or they need to purchase it.
Yes.
I think Carol reached out to them this week or last week.
I did. This
And,
week I reached out and said, I know it's not the end of June yet, but are you still interested? Any clue? And she said, that's when she talked to me about, they just weren't clear they were gonna get the grant money and
So
just
we need
couldn't-
to open up conversations with them, obviously.
Yes, we do. But she
you
said
know,
they're interested if the price is right, is what she said.
When Chris Frank was in,
The price is right. I mean,
Well, we know not $1 million.
Well, yeah, naturally, but you're not gonna sit here and spend a big deal either, so.
I think when Chris Frank was in the office, what was it, a couple of weeks ago? Frank was in there, or Chris was in your office, and I brought up Brunkow. He said, oh, we need to deal with that.
Yeah, they still
Well,
haven't.
we do need to deal with that, but it still comes down to, you know, he's throwing out the money that's allotted by the state, which is $200,000. You know, would we be willing to invest in the building itself to him? I don't know that we want to play that spot.
We demo the building, we would get about 250.
I think the number was,
Well, it's a reimbursement of two.
Yeah,
Oh,
reimbursement.
yeah, because if he only spends 150, they're not gonna give him 200.
Right,
Right. Do
Well,
they
what Chris
have-
was saying, because the other schools didn't get tore down, there's more money there.
Oh,
Because it was all allotted per building.
yeah,
And
so
now
Saginaw didn't tell
But we don't know if it works like that. And do we have an estimate on how much it's gonna cost to tear it down?
Well, it's gonna push every dollar that they're offering, because, demo was, you know, sitting between 175 and 200,000 with a couple different places I contacted, and that's no, asbestos
I
payment.
was gonna say, now you gotta
And
have.
now it's more.
Probably well, that 2.5.
No, I think it could possibly cost us more. I really think we should try and sell it no matter what they're willing.
I guess I would question whether the state would allow us to use that money to renovate the building to turn around and sell. Would we potentially get in trouble and pay that money back after the fact?
Yeah.
That would be my concern.
That's not what the money
Yeah,
is
only two.
allocated.
Right.
It's only allocated for demolition.
No, you could use it for upgrade, but I think it was supposed to be your building.
Yeah, but not upgrade to turn around and sell it.
Oh, okay, I see, yeah, because then that's like that would be.
Put out the money to get it back, or that's what you're gonna do.
How many rooms do they use now? They used up,
They're only using half the building.
so we don't have anywhere, even if we demo, to collect that money and have a classroom somewhere else for them to use.
And according to them, we obviously never look, because it's not
I
our
was thinking
program.
towns like, we don't have.
Oh, no, no way. No way.
Well, you already got Fort. We already have that start out of Fort Street.
Yeah, yeah, they're using
Oh,
that other
okay.
building too.
We
Yeah.
really want to kind of stay in that general area.
Right.
You know, just to show one of the problems that comes up, like, we've already mowed Brunkow twice this year, because they'll only mow around the building itself, they won't do the field, and then BD calls us and says, the grass is too high, you gotta get out and mow. You know, so I mean, there's expenses, the same thing over to Rucker. You know, there's parking lot expenses, there's a tree that's leaning over, they're calling me, is it your responsibility to take the tree down, is it our responsibility to take the tree down? You know, they're not cost neutral. So the best thing to do is wash our hands with it, in my opinion.
So,
Probably need to throw a number in.
Well, do you have a number you would like me to throw at them?
I mean, has the building formally been appraised?
No, well, that's just what they said, you know, because they just sold those other buildings, they knew they were in the ballpark by square footage, but
And what that building is similar to that would go for?
Without going to a realtor?
probably closest
I
ones that-
might be
that
able
one
to
high
school.
count
school.
it.
Yeah,
That's a lot bigger.
I think,
Never mind, do it.
Okay.
on the insurance company. I think they can get notified.
I really think they almost need to approach us and say, we're willing to
Yeah,
pay
the
this
insurance
much.
company.
That's what I think.
Sure.
Well, my last email to her, I did, I have
Because
just,
for us to punch a number out,
just
we're
give me a
just gonna
number,
start a number.
and I have to check.
They might not start
An hour and a half.
Yeah, we should just say, what do you normally pay? When?
He's practicing.
I think they understand that we have that deadline.
There's definitely some pros for us as well. And I think the same thing, they need to give us a number so we can start there.
Activity, we had some, first of all, I want to start off by saying, once a class has graduated, the activity money does not belong to the class anymore. There's a GASB ruling on that, years ago. So I'm gonna get you that ruling. You cannot, the school district cannot hold monies for classes. And this was when I was here, years ago. What would happen is, if someone came in 5 years later and wanted a check to do something, who would you give a check to? Because that person could easily take that check and do whatever with it. So the ruling came out that they had to designate a project or turn it over to the next class, and that's what we had done in the school district years back. Now, I'm not sure what happened in 2004, but the difference is not missing. It was to pay for some costs for the classes. And I have the activity for that, and I don't know if Cheryl to go over that. But I think her thinking is, whatever happened in 2014 has to stay with the class for class reunion. But there's a GASB thing saying you can't do that. That money belongs now to the school district, either to donate a project or turn it over to the next class.
Okay, so the perception is
That
that money would stay there forever until they
You
use it all.
can't do that. That's why we don't have any other classes on the
So,
books.
let me ask you this, so the class of 2015,
Correct.
if they had $1,000.
Goes to the class of
They could put
2016.
it towards
Yeah, they
the
can do it.
monument thing or the.
That's
flashing
exact,
thing.
that's how that, right.
Okay, so is it too late now for the class of 2014 to do anything with that? Because, let me just give you a
Okay,
quick
what would they
background.
want to do now that we could justify the class of 2014 actually doing it?
Could they do this? Could they have said, we want to put in a new PA system for the football field?
Yep, they
We
definitely
want to
can. Yes, they
put
can.
A big Bearcat statue on the 50-yard line or
Correct,
whatever. They
absolutely.
didn't know that, and here's what happened.
Okay,
So my son graduated last year.
okay.
There was a lot of stuff going on with their prom and all that they didn't have the money.
Okay.
I got involved with that, Cheryl got involved with that, and a core group of the students, and we raised $5,000.
You have more than enough
We
money.
raised a ton of money,
Yes.
a ton of money. We had spaghetti dinner, we did all this stuff, and we did it.
Okay.
So then they didn't go on their senior trip because nobody wanted to go. There was only like 3 kids that signed up and wanted to go, so they didn't do it. So we had all this money, and we were sitting in the finance meeting with the prior superintendent, and I questioned, okay, now what are we gonna do with that money? And the former high school principal said, well, we're gonna buy student handbooks or whatever it was. What is it, high school?
Yeah, handbook, not handbook.
And I said,
Planners.
well, wait a minute.
Planners.
Who decides that?
Right,
Because
like the
I was
class should
saying,
vote.
I think the class should decide if they want to do something and
Absolutely.
earmark that they could be remembered in the school. And became a thing between me and the other high school principal, and then Mr. Hill said, I'll take care of it, don't worry about it, that money, you'll be able to do something with it. That was the understanding, and that was over a year ago. So now when I was approached about this, I was like, well, I have to look into that, because last year, I looked at all the class funds. And because the high school, the senior class last year had less than the freshman class.
Right.
And then that's when I said, no, we can't, this isn't right, they're not gonna have a prom, they're not gonna have a senior trip. And then that's when we did all of this and raised that money. And so now,
Now,
is it
do
too
they
late?
have a project they want to use the money for?
No idea, because it was my understanding from the, this just happened the other day. So it was my understanding that, yeah, that money was kind of set aside and they could do something with it like that if they wanted to.
And they're supposed to do it before
Before they leave.
leave.
So my question would be, and I'm not saying that this can't be done, but my question would be, we talk about the class of 2014, so how would we get enough of them together now to make a decision about whatever it is they want to do with
I still remember the core group that were there and worked it with me. In every class, there's a core group that
Sure.
gets behind that.
Yes.
And,
I would say do a letter and let them sign it.
and the rest
What
of
they
them
wanna
don't.
do.
And if they have that, if the athletic department has a need for something, or
Right.
if we want to plant a tree, or we want to put sidewalks in or something like that,
I have a
that
nice
they
project. but I
have
don't
a
wanna
legacy
discuss it
then
quite yet.
built in.
Now, I'm gonna tell you, I can do this.
I would love that moving forward, and we gotta let them classes know, because really, it's not right for
Right.
this
don't
next
know.
class to get
Right.
it was $8,000 or
Class
something.
advisor's supposed to
And
let them
now,
know.
you know, they just get it, and if we got a class that does nothing for fundraising, and then they just,
It's like, look at mine.
yeah, they suck up the money, but that each class could have a legacy. And if we could start with 2014, and then 2015 has a little bit left, and they say,
Well, that little bit left is 2014 money.
Yeah, they don't really.
Yeah,
We
what I'm
paid some of
saying-
their bills. Okay.
yeah, whatever's left, and it's still quite a bit of money, isn't it?
Right, yes.
For
86,
2014.
yeah,
2014 has
2014,
what left?
86,490.
6,000, yeah, 6,000.
So let's just say $6,000.
Yeah, you have that report.
Yeah.
That's not, where's that on it? Where's the 6,000?
At the time.
Because I'm seeing 2014 balance forward from prior year, 8280, but that looks much expensive than
Right.
down here.
No, that's the next account, class of 15. This is.
Okay, there's their balance, okay.
Right.
Got it, understood.
Right here.
Mhm, That's it.
And then what's the 2014's balance?
That is
That is
2014.
2014.
Oh, but now that's,
2015, you
So did
signed,
they pay it somehow?
2015.
So
they
that's-
had nothing, they had nothing,
2014?
yeah.
Oh, no, that balance has always
No,
been.
no, in 2015.
Well, they
Right,
had
they-
$551.11.
They started out,
$551.11.
they started out with
So
2862.
there's what I'm talking about.
And they borrowed.
They started out with
They
this, and they
basically
borrowed
They took
money.
money out of 14.
They basically had nothing then,
Correct.
and took money from, yeah, see, so,
So it's
So,
not really their choice to decide how to spend that $6,000.
Right. I mean,
Right.
it was
It
not
wasn't theirs.
inappropriate to do that. but-
so, can you give me a wish list?
oh,
I'll get with Cheryl,
Yes.
we'll get with the kids,
not you, Al.
and something that can be seen. Hey, the class of
Put it in writing,
2014,
let
did
some of them
this.
sign off, we'll do
because
it.
they would love it, and I think we should make that a goal of every class.
Mhm. And it's supposed to
They
be,
have a
it
legacy.
has been for the last,
But I never knew that
The
till,
senior advisors need to be made aware.
yeah, the new
Yeah.
ones, because the old ones probably
Yes, they
don't.
don't.
Okay.
because they did a phenomenal job with that
No, I don't
spaghetti
think they
dinner.
do.
And I think we raised about $5,000 that
Okay.
night.
I think the perception is they can keep that money if they want to put it towards their fifth-year reunion or something.
We've never done it, so,
I
yeah.
think that's the
You
perception.
know,
Okay.
like when I was talking to Cheryl, I said, well, I'm gonna have to look into this, but could they do a scholarship? Could, but if you got something, give you the wish list.
Now, that's another thing they could do. If they wanted to take that money, put it in a scholarship fund, and the scholarship, whatever you want to call it, that's another thing.
And then that group, but can you give me that, Carol?
Yeah,
She'll give you a wish list, I'm
Yeah, I
sure.
can start putting together a wish list for
Because
you.
I think that's.
Not a wish list for maintenance.
That is insightful, that empowers them to say, wow, we've got a legacy there.
Yeah.
Great.
Do we have a Bearcat statue?
I was just throwing that out.
That's why I was wondering, did I miss it or
I don't know if you
something?
can Bearcats.
They have one?
Okay. That's why I was wondering.
You
if
know,
we had one.
Yeah.
Did I miss it or something?
Jeff's over here like this.
What surprised
You
me-
tractor.
Well,
We'll put a plaque on it somewhere.
What's that?
A Bearcat plane.
We could fly those things from a lot of places in town. We could fly that.
And a Bearcat, I'll tell you right now, a Bearcat flag is not gonna cost $6,400.
Probably gonna cost about $500.
Right.
Get a couple of them. Yeah.
that would be cool.
That would be nice.
There's probably someone in Bridgeport who would be more than willing to make us the
I
flag.
don't know if anybody just silk screen around here.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
A1 side.
Oh, yeah, they would do it. Okay.
Okay,
And stuff.
so that's on the list.
So I think
Kept
that's,
that.
that's a good thing to do with it.
So you'll talk to Cheryl, or you
As
want
soon
me?
as I get the wish list,
Okay, okay.
I told her I'd take care of it, and I'll get together, we'll get, we know who those kids are. And then we'll get them together over the house and we'll say, hey, this is, you know, here's a list. Here's what I think, but what do you think? And then we'll pick something, and that's helping the school. That's what it really should be about.
Al wanted to share a little bit of information about athletics. We were talking about finding ways to save money.
As of this morning, after having a conversation yesterday with Mr. Bitter from the Parks and Rec Department, and as of today, we are dropping our 7th and 8th grade team out of our budget, basically, and letting the Parks and Rec take over that 7th and 8th grade
That
program.
football,
Our football program.
Just
that's kind of gone back and forth over the years.
Yes, we'll get a coach come in like we did maybe 4 years ago. I think it was Eric Peterson came in at that time and said he really would like to see the 7th and 8th grade be a part of the school program so that we could have our own coaches who would, I guess, be in a better position to work with what they want the kids to know. And that's been an issue over the years because they get in Parks and Rec and sometimes you get guys that have a son involved and don't really know football but tries to coach them and they don't get the skill build up that they would at this level up here. So as of today, they're being taken over and that's going to be a savings to the athletic budget of about $4,000 to $5,000 with transportation, coaches' salaries,
4 to 5?
4 to 5. With transportation and coaches' salaries and officials. When we have home games, we pay the officials. So,
Well, years ago, I coached that, and it was rec.
right.
But it was so close to school, that it was the same thing, because when I did it, I came home and talked to the coaches.
Right.
And that's where I got my equipment from. And it was kind of through Karen Leffler at the time. I think that was Leffler, wasn't it?
Right.
We were actually a feeder into there, so I was kind of getting their plays
Right.
and that thing.
Well, Bill was concerned when he brought it to me. He wants to get in this, I think it's a Mid-Michigan League or something, and you need 5th, 6th, and the 7th and 8th to get into the league.
That's what we did.
And so I said to her yesterday, Carol, I said, you know, this would benefit us, but I said, look, the one thing I would like to do is have our coaching staff find an 8th grade coach that he wants to work with those kids, rather than finding just maybe a parent who would really coordinate that 8th grade program with what we're doing here.
That was flag back then. And we played against the school still.
This league that they're getting out of now, they weren't too happy when I called this morning, but now they're gonna have to find another team so they can balance out the schedule that was already set for like Birch Run, Millington, North Branch, Garden, ourselves. It was more the Tri-Valley Conference. Now they're gonna be playing, you know, Swan Valley and some of those, there's a number of schools along 46 that are in that league.
Yeah, that's we played with Swan Valley, we played Carlton.
Carlton's in the league that we're getting out of right now. But overall, that's about what the savings is. And I'm also looking at, we discussed, Melissa and I, first of the week, seeing where I can trim some of my assistant coaches that are getting paid at this time. You get baseball and softball where you have not enough for the JV team, so what would have been the JV coach has been helping with those kids because they have not enough to have that JV team, but too many for really one coach to manage and keep busy out there in the field. So I'll look to see what coaches we can trim there.
And he's gonna try to collect pay to play also.
Oh, that's just gonna happen. I've already talked to people. I said, you know, and they were aware of that. That whole situation just fell apart because of what everybody knows happened.
Okay, but next year it's
Oh, it's
nailed down,
cut and
it's
dry.
locked and loaded.
They
Yes,
know.
absolutely.
You know, it's really funny when Jan, my secretary, part-time secretary, said to me, she said, you know, it's really funny, when there's nobody to influence anybody, the middle school kids, everybody pays, it's all taken care of. But you get one person here that said you don't have to pay, and that just kind of ballooned and just fell down the line, right, all year long. Well, they didn't have to pay, why do we have to pay? You know, it's just an ongoing issue.
Well, that's in the past.
That's in the past.
And
So
we're
day one,
moving
that's-
forward.
They are already being informed and they understand and know what's going on. Also to let you know that we are going to do one interview tomorrow and one on Monday for the girls varsity position, basketball. And we'll start coordinating the applications and getting some interviews set up for the boys football position next week.
In the past, do we have like a sign-out sheet that the student has to sign when they're given their equipment, their jerseys, their pads, helmets, all that stuff?
The practice that I started, there's not a sign-out sheet for them. On their last contest, they don't leave with any equipment. Everything is kept here, and the coaches have been very responsible for me. Anyway, they washed them that last time. I mean, everybody just collects their equipment before they ever leave the building. I have not had an issue with any of them.
Your biggest equipment thing is football, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it
Basketball's
stays,
just
I'm there. And they stay, they take their shoulder pads off, they put them in a pile here, helmets go in a pile over here, and all their jerseys and pants and everything stays in that locker room.
Even during the season?
Not during the season,
At
at the last game, last home game
Okay.
that they have here, that stuff is not taken home, nothing. Has not been an issue for us. And I've had coaches, you know, really take care of that very well.
Because baseball, they probably supply their own bats, don't they?
I have bought, talk about an expense, I have bought for them 2, maybe 3 bats. They're anywhere from $300 to $500 a piece. Those aluminum bats.
Yeah.
I said, now that's yours for the next 2 years. If your ding went up and the umpires, I don't know if you're aware of this, check those bats before every game. If there's a ding in them, it's basically you throw it away. It's because there's such a danger of that bat falling apart, breaking. So
They're
next
usually
year,
metal bats, aren't they? They're not using wood.
not anymore.
Yeah.
Those things are expensive, and I said, you know, most of the kids like a certain kind of bat or like the weight of a certain bat, so they do buy their own.
That's what, yeah, they got their own bats.
Oh, yeah, that's a tremendous expense, it's terrible.
Okay, so for next year, we're dialed in.
Very much so.
Sharks on, right? Shark Tank.
Shark Tank, yes.
All right. Anything we need to go over on this?
No, it's just reviewing for Brunkow is the biggest thing. It's just the stuff that's happening.
So I'll keep you posted, getting back to the Brunkow building, update. If I get an offer from the ISD, I'll get that to you. And Jeff, as soon as possible.
Yeah, we need, starting to get some figure here.
Real quickly at the back of my little thing, I was asked, I can't remember who asked me, but it was a month ago, to just get an estimate on resurfacing the parking lot with 3 lines. That's the back of the pack. It's just one supplier, it's substantial numbers. I don't see that we can probably fit it into our budget anywhere, but we can talk about it.
We were gonna talk about some of the things because,
Well,
I'll be honest, I don't know what's out there for the ISD that we have budget for. I'm really just, so I'm wondering what I'm doing right now. I don't know what we kind of tried to get for before I got here now. I want to do. I gotta have my man down and find out, so I'm not really happy. We're trying to find out from the ISD. I don't want surprises, what services we have out there for the ISD that they're providing for us that I'm not aware of. So we're talking with the ISD. Chris Frank is gonna get some figures from me this month. So I wanna make sure there's no big surprises. which we're hovering around the million for fund balance, but I don't want any surprises. So as we get closer, then I'll be able to add this particular project, if we can do it in June, and still stay close to what we told the staff. And we have increased in cost, you're right, for data services for Simco. But we need you to, I'm not sure, maybe you can come in and meet with us when we meet with Simco. So when do we meet with Simco?
Tuesday,
Tuesday, what time?
1 o'clock.
Are you available at 1? Because that's we don't even have a May and June bill here. I've increased that much. So I don't know if it's something they're doing they shouldn't be, or we've asked them for more things, and it didn't start out that way.
Well, they mentioned M-step testing was time consuming for that.
I put in a lot of extra time because of that.
Is
Yeah, a
that
lot of school
related
districts
to?
do. That costs districts a lot of money.
Right.
Yes, it did. That's the new NEAT testing, that's the statewide assessment. It's all online.
It's a problem across the
And there were
state.
problems across the state, although I understand that compared to a lot of other districts, it was very smooth, but we didn't think ours was smooth, especially not those first few days. It was like a major challenges, and we don't know yet how much that costs, just because we don't have the bill.
So is that something, if it's related to high school, if you have money left, you can charge that rates?
I think perhaps,
High school?
the high school one is not where the problem was. It was at Athens, but we can still,
Okay.
it was at Athens.
We have money left now, I guess we'll try to shift some of that. So we're relieved to the general fund as much as we
Yeah,
can.
I'll put that on the calendar.
Okay.
I wanted to ask you, Jeff, and this might be something that this committee has talked about before my tenure here. All that industrial arts equipment,
At the time we did all the stuff in the machine shop, after we auctioned it up, they were still running the shop. At that time, Kevin Gossett was actually running it, and after he took a different position, the sideline was running. This is the first year that wood shop's not ran at all. That's a choice the school district needs to make, whether we will continue that program at all, or if it's going to be done. And at that point, I would say we auction it off again, if that's what's decided.
and I'll tell you, there's not a big demand from the students for programs like that, which is why I'm assuming we don't have a program right now. And then when you do, it's a big challenge to get someone who's HQ, highly qualified to teach it. I mean, you got plenty of woodworkers out there, but someone who's highly qualified to teach an industrial arts class or wood shop, that's a whole different ballgame. So, right now, that equipment, and there's lots of it, at some point, we might want to just take a tour.
Well, you got all the drafting desks
You
that
got
work
so
from
much stuff.
classes, plus
There's
wood
machines,
shop.
there's saws,
Table saws and
Yes.
drill presses and, yeah.
There's a couple places in there, bandsaws, some scroll saws.
Are there companies that would
Yeah,
want that?
Yeah, there's people that,
Oh, there's,
I mean, we had no problem getting rid of the machine.
Just
shop.
carpenters,
They made more money
Yes.
than we thought we were gonna get, so.
yeah.
so I would love to.
It's just a decision that needs to be made.
Yeah, I would love to get the okay to start looking for someone to buy
Especially over the summer, it'd be a great time.
that equipment. That would, I have no idea how much it would tell them to
Get rid of
Make
it.
a list of what we got. Just make a list, send it to us, and then we can tell them how much.
a list of the machinery,
Yeah, the equipment.
of the equipment. Okay. Jeff can,
Yeah, I'll do it.
Yes.
And we can do it this summer?
Yeah, it'd be a perfect time.
Okay.
I don't know.
There's some money to pay for some of
yes,
this.
there.
Did you get
Pay for
your,
it.
did you get your vacation stuff all straightened out?
Yeah, they've all turned it up. That is the last thing I kind of like to bring up. We spoke about making it take a week at the 4th of July week. Well, I believe it lands on Wednesday. can't really use the week before because
It's on-
it's.
It's on a Friday.
It's on
Saturday.
Saturday.
It's Saturday, so it's a weird day.
Yeah.
You know, we can't really do the week before because it goes into this year. So we'd have to push it for the week.
I would say the week after.
But if we are gonna do it, we need to create a memo and probably have Carol sign it.
We did a week before, it wouldn't bother us to accrue, that means there would be, you talking about all of them?
That's what we talked about.
Just
Because
a
in terms
shutdown.
of the accrual, it probably wouldn't bother us at all if they took the week before, right? Why did you think it would be a problem?
Because their vacation re-ups 1st of July.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
You know what I mean? If we
Because
gave
some
a
may
week-
not even have
Yeah, I was
it.
thinking about a shutdown, like shutdown.
And, you know, that was just like our first initial thought is we'd use that week and then try and push it for the other weeks.
Second week in July, you're talking about?
That's what sounds like
Okay.
I'm talking about.
So the
Well,
fourth is gonna be
it's
celebrated on the
truly,
They
yeah,
first?
it is a second week.
So they actually probably, I think by contract, they're probably getting Friday off anyways, right?
Yes, I would
Yeah.
think so.
So they'd actually end up with even that much longer time.
Yeah. And what about 410s, are we gonna do that or not?
I don't mind it, but there's
They don't
custodians that don't like it, there's custodians that do like it. And last year, to clarify it, they just said 8 hours a day,
Okay.
5 days a week. Just the normal contractor. I don't know why anyone would want to do 4 times.
Is it their decision?
No, it's our decision, that's why last year we just said, no, it's gonna be 8 hours, 5 days a week. But, you know, the conflict comes into, school, you know, summer school stuff, because you have custodians.
But they don't
They don't go
on
Friday.
Friday.
I know, I'm just saying, that, you know, that's been the conflicts in the past. But,
I personally like 410. That's,
So we don't have anything going on in schools on Fridays anyway.
Right.
So why do we need them here then?
Right.
I wouldn't we just say that's the way it is.
It's a choice we can have. Yeah, we've never forced it, it down.
is it a contractual violation for them to do that?
No, because a lot of schools just run the state. A lot of, they just shut down on Friday, period. ISD shut down.
That's violations that-
Saginaw Public shuts down on Friday.
Do they shut down the custodian staff?
The buildings are closed.
Oh, yeah, I guess so. So you shut down all electrical, everything.
Say it's a done deal.
I'm just
So is
saying,
that a recommendation that would come from this committee?
I don't know that we have to, the board, that's not a board issue. That's a
Right,
business
that's-
issue.
Yeah,
That'd be
yeah, it's
Jeff
administrative.
Lab.
You
It's
would
not,
have to-
we're not going to do anything against the contract.
No. They're still getting their
That
time.
would be your call. You would,
Right.
all
Okay,
employees.
I guess do we-
I am all for it. I'm all for it.
You guys think that was going to be best, you know better than I do.
well, they're gonna counter back, they're gonna come back and say, you know, I'm tired, we're not gonna get as much done, but, you know.
So what was the excuse last year? Because it was.
Last year, they just didn't want, they had like 2 or 3 that were willing to do it, like Brian Massey, he loved the 4-day, Michelle Hoffman liked the 4-day.
But I'm saying, they all
They
worked
said
5 days,
was-
right? Last year, right? They worked
No,
5
there
days?
was more that wanted to work 5 days than there
But what
were.
was the final decision?
We did 5 days.
And the buildings still weren't clean, so what's the excuse?
There's no excuse.
I rest my case.
You don't have to, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, you know.
Yes, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, now, this is the same group. The secretaries will fall into the same group.
Well, secretaries,
You don't have
you
it.
got different secretaries, you got 10-month and 11-month secretaries, so.
Yeah, they could do the same thing. I don't know if you have that big secretaries in July. What do you have in July?
I don't think
It's a
there are.
cost savings.
It's in-
because
it's
we can
nobody
shut
doing
lights
it.
off.
Right.
It's a cost
We
savings.
can
The
shut
lights
the building
are
off for that
For 3 days.
3 days as opposed to
Absolutely.
2.
Yeah.
Now that I can shut AC right down. on
Oh,
Fridays.
yes, you
Yeah.
could. Because now you're running air conditioning.
That's a
Absolutely.
no-brainer.
That's an energy saving.
So who's the head of,
Thanks
well,
for
I can
bringing it up.
find out, head of the secretary.
Let's see, I just have one more thing. Officer Green's contract is up for renewal for 15-16, so I have
Oh, yeah. We just got, we have to just get it approval at the board.
This is just a draft.
We'll have it on Monday.
You got the agenda?
And if it's not Monday, it has to be in July.
Same, everything's the same?
Yep.
Yeah, the rates are the same, yeah, pretty much all the terms are the same.
I was told he,
That is a recommendation.
You want a recommendation from,
yeah,
Yes.
and he will be paid out of at-risk funding.
Yes.
Nothing's changed.
He will be paid out of at-risk.
And you want him here, right?
Oh, absolutely. His support and his presence is invaluable.
I want to find out how we can, I talked with him today to see if we can definitely give the middle school some help and how he's gonna look next year. I don't think about it over the summer, come up with a plan for this building, because one of the issues we have with this building is coming in the door and bypassing.
I have a
Once they're
price
buzzed
on it.
in, they don't stop. So we talked about, did he talk to you
Yeah, he
about
called me
building a
last
wall?
week.
Okay.
We're talking about moving the secondary magnet wall to the opposite side of the office door, so they have to go in the office.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's what
so
I,
taking that foyer and extending it out more?
To the office.
Office door.
If you look when you walk by, there's a wood beam right past it, they should take a tie there.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Shouldn't take much.
Yeah, so the question is, can they reuse as much of that hardware on that entrance right now, just move it out of that? So I got a guy coming to measure.
when you find out the cost, let me know, because that's something we can take out of at-risk because of security.
That's how we put the secondary in at Atkins last
So
year.
it won't cost the general fund.
Put that on the wish list.
So, okay, so just
It does make sense.
if we extend that.
Oh, it might be a 2014 project,
Thanks.
put that
All
down.
the kids will be saying, thanks.
So if we extend that, if we put a wall there and they have to stop into the office, then when they sign in, then where do they?
They magnet up there.
They really-
It'd still be exactly the same way, they'd walk out of the office, then they'd have to go.
Oh, okay, they walk out, and then, okay. Okay, I didn't know, because some buildings, they bypass the office and then there's another door for them to go out into the.
It won't be a permanent block off, it'll be double doors, just like it is.
Okay, but they have to go through and.
That's a good idea, because if it's hectic in that office, I've come in different times.
Oh, it's easy to walk
And
past.
they're- obviously, they know me, but, you know, they get 6 or 7 kids in that office, and now you can squeeze by just like that.
Oh,
Yeah, and they don't see you.
They won't even see you.
do we have a meeting in July?
That's.
No,
Do we need to have a meeting in July?
Do you usually?
not really. No, I don't, August is probably the soonest.
Yeah, I don't think we
We
need in July.
get back.
And I guess if you felt there was something we needed to deal with,
Then we'll bring it
just call.
Yeah, we usually don't, but
Yeah, let's see, we'll have the budget workshop on June 22nd and 29th, we'll approve the budget, so we'll have plenty of.
what do we got on the 22nd?
The budget workshop, the whole board,
Is that 27 or 26?
June 22nd.
Vacation.
You on vacation?
On the 22nd, yeah.
Is
Okay,
there,
we'll just go over with you
But I got
perfect.
the 29th down.
Okay.
is there?
What
any-
time are we doing those in the evening?
Yeah,
That's just regular board meeting time, I think.
probably be
6
an
o'clock.
hour.
Is there any reason why we can't do the workshop on top of the 20?
That's right.
You have no time to change it. You can't go back and redo
I
it.
mean, we could do, they could approve the next day, or technically the 30th.
They would have to have another meeting to approve it. So if there were any changes, you couldn't have it do it. That's the reason why they wanted it before to do that. So if Pete's fine, but the problem is, we would have to know they're gonna approve the budget. But now, if they don't want a workshop, that's one thing. So our question was, could we actually do both on the 29th?
I know some organizations do that, that's why I just brought it up, but I don't want to break.
So if I won't be on the 29th, but he's presenting the next year's budget anyway. So my question would be, is it gonna be that many questions that we could not approve the whole thing that night? That's up to you. I mean, this workshop was back in the days. Is it effective? Is it not effective?
Well, the only, I'm just, I would be cautious on giving some people the impression that you're trying to just shove something.
That's why we had a workshop.
Me, I'm fine with it, but I understand.
And there's not
Okay.
really any big changes, is there?
Now, we just have, maybe have to add a teacher or two in that budget, that's other
Yeah,
than
we-
that.
Maybe a suggestion would be to consider the 22nd, if everybody's on board.
Then approve it that night.
Yeah, send an email out.
But if there's any fuss or bother, then we'll.
We'll come back, oh,
I
that's a
I
good
would, I would
idea.
err on the side of caution and start at the 22nd, not go all the way to the 29th.
Yeah, that
And
you're
then expect
dangerous
And
then.
then expect an approval. I'd be cautious.
What was that? What was?
We would
I don't see
definitely
any-
go for the 22nd
I
as a
don't
day
see
we're
any
gonna
big
really
changes.
approve it. If there are no changes, we'll approve it that night.
We're still moving in the right direction.
Right.
Yeah,
And that's a good point, at least do it then. If we need another meeting on 29th, we have it, but once you do the 29th, you have a one day, that's the 30th.
Now, I don't know if we can do this by the 22nd, there's gonna be some, staff things, staff positions that will be brought forward by the
There won't be,
29th.
we won't have new positions, only what we discussed, which is a position and a half.
Right.
If they change, they don't care about that, as long as they're in the budget.
Do we hear any rumors, anybody looking to retire or anything like that?
We've not had any recently.
She's social worker. I think she's. But that's not.
I mean, there's been a couple of rumors, but, you know, until we get that written, that documentation, we can't.
You could have
Plan.
an interview, but if they don't want a job, you're not gonna know.
right.
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 That's a good idea. So Pete, we'll plan the 22nd. And if we need one on the 29th, fine, because you're absolutely
Information to
right.
Larry before the 22nd.
Oh, you won't be there on the 22nd, right?
Answer quickly, Larry.
I mean, really, big picture wise, we're really confined with the depth, so our expenses are not gonna change.
Yeah, that's very true. We can't
They're gonna be
do much.
reclassified a little bit, but nothing
We
major.
can't do anything
The revenue
because
side,
of the debt.
you already saw what the increases we're getting, that's pretty much, yeah, we don't have much leeway to really go outside that, so it's not gonna be as subjective as some other districts might be.
You had a good point. You can't really change much.
No.
You gotta stay within your guidelines.
My vacations usually are around the house.
Okay.
It's my wife's birthday
We'll go
tomorrow,
for
so
that.
we rent a cabin on the lake and we'll go out of town.
Oh, wonderful.
Weekend. That's my whole vacation.
We'll have the 40,
Okay, so we
29
adjourn?
tax information.
All done?
Oh, yeah, we were gonna say some that doesn't need to until August, I have that information.